Hi, thank you for attending today's session. My name's Kieran Fox and I'm a Senior Pre-Sales Consultant with Reveille Software. Today we will explore the best practices for implementing your digital transformation strategy and outline success stories on how peer organizations have met these challenges and achieved greater improvements by leveraging real-time data to optimize business processes, improve information management, and become more intelligent, connected enterprise to better serve their customers. Reveille's been providing enterprise content management solutions for over 15 years. We have strong partnerships with the ECM providers, delivering certified solutions. We provide multi-platform support and are cloud-ready. We provide enterprise content management solutions for many major organizations. Our system is quick to deploy, providing pre-configured bots covering ECM and common application stacks. We're an agentless, proactive solution for enterprise content management. Here you can see some facts and figures about Reveille. Some of the key ones to pick out. We've had 10 major versions since 2005, and we really focus on features and delivery of the system. We've had 70 new features since 2018, and we have over 500,000 licensed named users, and we have multiple US patents. Reveille's focus is always on the quality of the product we produce and meeting our clients' requirements. Currently, most organizations think their approach to digital transformation isn't working. If we look at these stats from the Harvard Business Review, only 22% of 445 executives deem their current digital transformation approach very effective. Obviously, they want to improve this. Traditionally, most organizations went through transformation to basically gain some sort of competitive advantage, to cause some disruption in the market, to change the marketplace, and to focus on why they should actually be making the transformation in the first place. But now that's changed. Really, with all the disruptions we've seen recently, it's about surviving those business disruptions. They need to be able to support remote workers, wherever they work, whether that's at home, from a different office, etc. And also, they need to understand what their users are doing within the system. They need to be able to address any insider threat, digital leakage, that type of scenario. So where does content services fit into all of this? So there are 4 areas we were talking about. On-ramp, how organizations get that unstructured information into the system and they process and deliver it. Automation, so the ability to gather information from multiple channels. Extraction, once they have that information, the ability to extract knowledge from it. The ability to look at text, to look at barcodes, etc., using AI potentially. And then once it's in the repository, the ability to scale that effectively, to be able to find the information they need at a quick and timely fashion. And that really fits into 4 different areas. Governance, the ability to secure the information, make sure when it's in the repository it's secure from external threat, but also internal threat potentially as well. The ability to audit all actions and whatever happens with that information, so what users are doing with it, how it's been processed, etc. The ability to comply with any regulations within this particular organization, so how the data is managed, how it's disposed of, etc. And that disposition piece as well, the ability to control that, so how long we need to keep it for, how long we need to retain that information, etc. Then from a collaboration point of view, the ability to actually work with that content across the organization from different devices, from different locations, and to work on it effectively, to share that information and be able to process it quickly. Then we think about app integration. Do we have to work in one specific interface? Or can we work with the content directly? Can we use the most appropriate interfaces? So looking at the API of a particular application, is it appropriate? Does it open up the ability to use multiple devices, multiple different interfaces? And then remote work, not having to go into the office now, but working from home, working from a remote location, working out in the field. And that really focuses on the security needs of the organization and what's happening to that content when it's being used and when it's being processed. Within enterprise content management, sprawl is an issue. Companies now have probably 5 or more content management systems, and these are often from different vendors looking at different types of content. And they estimate over the next 2 years that this volume is going to increase 4.5 to 5 times, and half of that will be unstructured data. So to manage this, we need to put in some active management controls, and they need to look at 4 areas. adoption, performance, capacity, and security. When we look at adoption, often organizations have different questions about how their systems are being used. How active is your user community for each of your platforms? Are all of the repositories being used, or is it only some of them? Which groups are actually using these repositories and these enterprise content management systems more effectively and more often? And how has remote work changed the adoption rates? So are more people using it from home, or are less people using it? So how do we get this insight? How do we understand and answer these adoption questions? Well, we need objective data, timely data, and we need to be able to roll that up from multiple departments and really understand what's happening. Reveille can answer these questions and provide the data required. Let's take a look at a customer example. An organization has implemented a new sales training system. They want to ensure the sales team not only use the system, but also produce reports showing usage for compliance reasons. Reveille provides not only a complete overview of system usage, it also allows organizations to provide reports documenting usage when required. Now let's take a look at performance. Typical questions we want to answer here are: why is the system slow? Is usage trending towards a danger level? Is critical app performance trending steadily downwards? So again, we need to answer those questions. We need to get that objective data, and we need a system that will complement existing horizontal data and feed common tools that we may use currently. In this customer example, an organization found they were always reacting to system issues. Users would inform them when there were problems with the system. They didn't have any insight into how the system was performing. After implementing Reveille, the organization have now become proactive when dealing with system issues. They're notified when the issues start to develop. They have a defined baseline for good performance. They have performance reports showing how the system has been running and meets their SLAs and KPIs. When issues develop, they now have an automated fix or workaround that Reveille can implement, and this really minimizes the user impact. When we talk about capacity, what we really want to understand is the level of resource required to deliver services to the specific number of users for that enterprise content management system. Again, what we need here is objective data. We need to understand the true usage of the system, and in some cases we may need to charge back to other parts of the organization. In this customer example, the organization was expanding rapidly, and they found their IT infrastructure was not keeping up with the level of change. They also had no real understanding of their enterprise content management environment, how it was used and how it was expanding. When they implemented Reveille, they understood system usage and system performance and how it was changing as the company expanded. It allowed the organization to evaluate this and flag when upgrades in capacity and processing were needed. It also provided reports to allow them to justify the cost of these upgrades to the management team. As we all know, COVID-19 has dramatically affected how we do our day-to-day work. Many of us are now working from home, or at least not working in the office. This has had an impact on data loss within many organizations. There's been a dramatic increase of data being copied out to USB drives. There's been a big increase in file uploads to cloud services. There's been an increase in email attachments, much more increased printing at home, and increased saving to home office networks and attached storage. All of this has an effect on the security of our enterprise content management environment. Organizations now have many questions that they need to have answered. For example, do they know who's using the system, who the power users are, and which apps they're using to access the repository? Does any of this access appear suspicious? Does it look unusual? Has it been from a different location or at a different time? How has remote working changed how users are interacting with the enterprise content management environment? Are users taking a lot of content out of the system, downloading large files or downloading a large number of files? And can we provide audit reports in everything that these users are doing? Do we understand exactly how the system's being used? Again, Reveille provides insight into this. It allows us to look at both internal and external users and how they're using the system. It provides audit-ready objective data that we can report on. It provides proof of compliance, allowing you to understand how users are interacting with the system and ensuring they're meeting the compliance within your specific industries. And it can feed security analysts' workflows. It can provide events, investigations, and provide tickets in external systems where required. In this customer example, the organization was worried that users may be exporting a lot of content from the system. especially outside working hours for non-business related reasons. They were worried that maybe data was being taken home, and potentially that user could take that data with them when they left the organization. When they implemented Reveille, it allowed them to understand what those users were doing, when they were exporting content, and they could flag these downloads if they went over a certain level at certain restricted periods. It also allowed them to automatically disable these users if required, and if required also to raise a ticket or an investigation in a separate security-related management system. It gave them complete control over what those users were doing. So although they may have had security rights to access the system, it ensured the actions that they carried out were actually for specific business reasons. So let's actually look at how Reveille works. In the bottom right of this wheel, we can see there are many sources that Reveille can gather data from. Reveille is agentless. It requires no changes to the system. It can harvest information from these environments, both on performance and system usage. It gathers this data into its own data store. So using Reveille has little effect on the performance of these back-end enterprise content management environments. Once we gather this data within our own data store, we can then analyze it. We can look for baselines, we can understand how the system is being used, and we can evaluate that. It provides insight into how the system is being used, how it's performing for end users, and where there are issues. We can also visualize this data. We can generate dashboards, reports. We can look at the data to understand better how the system is being used, and then do something about it if required. We can look at this data from many different clients, both mobile and desktop. And if required, we can then act on this data. We can restart services, we can run PowerShell scripts, we can disable users, we can raise investigations or tickets in separate systems. Reveille gives us complete control and management of our enterprise content management environments. So what makes Reveille different? We have an agentless approach. We try to have minimal impact on the environments we're monitoring. We don't require changes to be made on them. We don't require additional agents on every client. And this means that we have very little impact on performance of those systems. We have a centralized shared database where all data about all of the systems we're monitoring and managing is held. This gives us visibility across our complete enterprise content management environment. Monitors, tests, and metrics within Reveille are wizard-driven, so they're quick to create and quick to set up. We provide proactive remediation to issues within the system. As mentioned before, these can include restarting services, running scripts, disabling users. We provide a single management view of the complete enterprise content management platform. This allows efficient management and real insight into how the systems are being used and performing. We provide user analytics on user behavior. We show what those users are doing on the system, how it's being used, and how it's performing for them. Again, give us insights for compliance and security reasons. We provide active breach detection. If there are issues, we can flag it. And because it's quick to deploy and simple to use, it has a lower total cost of ownership. Let's take one more look at a customer example. In this case, we're looking at a large US bank and how they've improved performance and saved man-hours with Reveille's application monitoring. In their shared services group for document capture, they needed a way to track and record issues with OpenText Intelligent Capture. IT resources would use an operations checklist to manually log into every service in order to assess the operational health of Intelligent Capture. At each daily shift, and there were 3 per day, IT resources would use the checklist to manually log into every service, check directories, and determine if files were being purged and cleaned up in the Intelligent Capture directories. The manual approach would take at least 2 hours per shift. With Reveille, they created new monitors in a matter of hours, which previously took a lot of time and resources to accomplish. Reveille finds issues before the end users can complain and identifies and fixes these issues without impacting the production environment. The manual checking is no longer required, saving over 6 man-hours per day. They now see Reveille as an invaluable tool within their Intelligent Capture environment. I hope you found our presentation today useful and provide some insights into what Reveille can offer when managing an enterprise content management environment. Please feel free to contact us directly if you have any questions or would like to see the product in action. Thank you again for your time.